Hi everyone, welcome back. So we are looking at the percentages PYQs and I have already covered from 2011 to some questions of 2019. So in this video, we are going to cover all the rest of the PYQs, that is from 2019 to 2022, because in 23 there was no question on percentages, as you know. So let us start. The first question, this is from 2019. Rakesh had money to buy 8 mobile handsets of a specific company, but the retailer offered very good discount on that particular handset. Rakesh could buy 10 mobile handsets with the amount he had. What was the discount the retailer offered? So initially he had money to buy 8 mobile handsets, but because of discount he was able to buy 10 mobile handsets. And the question is, what was the discount given by the retailer? So this is pretty simple. Let us assume that the price of one handset is 100. So to buy 8 handset he had 800 rupees, right? But ultimately he bought 10 handsets, so he still had 800 rupees. So the price of each handset then became 80 rupees, right? Now why I started with 100 is because it is, we have to calculate percentages, discount in percentages. So if you take original price as 100, then whatever you get, it will directly give you the percentage, right? So initial price was 100, the new price is 80, so discount was 20%. That's your answer, option number B, right? Pretty simple from 2019. Let us go to the next one. A shop owner offers following discount options on an article to a customer. Successive discounts of 10% and 20% and then pay a service tax of 10%. So pehle he gave discounts of 10%, then a discount of 20%, and then he had to pay a service tax of 10%. Okay. Successive discounts of 20% and 10%, and then pay a service tax of 10%. Pay a service tax of 10% first, then successive discounts of 20% and 10%. Which one of the following is correct? One only is the best option for the customer, 2 is the best option, 3 is the best option, all the options are equally good for the customer. Now understand the question. इसमें देखो क्या हो रहा है, that he is getting 2 discounts and then he is paying 10% of the service tax in all the 3 scenarios. The difference is only in the sequence, right? For the lack of space, I have just written these statements here. So there are discount percentage of 10 and 20, then 20 and 10, and then he has to pay a tax of 10%. Or he has to pay a tax of 10% and then get the discount of 20 and 10%. The question is, which one is the best option for the customer, right? So we know the formula for successive discounts, which is A plus B plus AB by 100, right? So if you put 10 and 20 here, those are the discounts. So I'm going to put 10 minus 20. AB will be minus plus 200 divided by 100, right? And then second option, this sequence is only changing, so it is minus 20 minus 10 plus 200 by 100, right? In both the cases, this is 2 plus 2 minus 30, so this is minus 28, right? Here also it is minus 20. So in first two options there is no difference in terms of the first two parameters. Then anyway he is paying a service tax of 10% on both of them, right? So it doesn't matter, because irrespective of what he pays, after that, as long as that percentage is same, he will pay the same amount, right? So for the first two options he is getting a net discount of 28% and then he is paying 10%. So in both the scenarios he will have to pay the same amount of money. With this, I can actually write the answer, because my answer say 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, or all, right? And I know that 1 and 2 are same. So I can straight away write D as the answer, right? So that's how you will do it in the exam. But for your understanding, I'm going to do the third part also, which say pay a service tax of 10% first. So service tax of 10% is, plus then first discount of 20%, right? And then this will be minus 200 divided by 100. So this will be minus 22 plus 10. This is minus 12, right? And in this minus 12, I will then get another discount of 10%. So I am going to put minus 12 minus 10 plus 120 divided by 100. So this will be minus 22 plus 1.2, which is minus 20. Right now, if I actually solve this also, again for service tax of 10%, let me solve one of this. So this is minus 28 plus 10 minus 280 divided by 100. So this is minus 20, minus 18 minus 0.8 is 20 point, right? You can see that all the three options are same, right? And we have already found that answer. You don't have to do this step, right? You need to think smartly. As long as you know in the first step itself, you know that in 1 and 2 the answer is going to be same, though you already got the answer option number D, right? Pretty simple question, CSAT 2020, as long as you know the successive discount formula, right? And you need to remember this formula because this might be useful in multiple percentages or interest questions. Let us see the next one. In adult population of a city, 40% of men and 30% women are married. What is the percentage of married adult population if no man marries more than one woman and no woman marries more than one man and there are no widows and widowers, right? तो ये क्वेश्चन में क्या है ना कि 40% मेन फ्रॉम दैट टाउन आर मैरिड, 30% वुमेन आर ऑल्सो मैरिड, राइट? और नो वुमन और मैन हैज मैरिड मोर देन वन पर्सन एंड देन एवरीवन हैज अ स्पाउस, राइट? तो कोई डेथ नहीं हुआ है, मतलब यू नो देयर आर द कपल्स आर ऑल अलाइव and there is no widow or widower in the house. So one fundamental thing that you need to understand here is that you know the number of men which are married is same as number of women which are married if all the other conditions are you know met. That means 40% of men is equal to 30% of women in that town, right? So now it becomes simple because I have to find what is the total percentage of population which is married. So let us say the population of the town is 100, or not population of the town is 100. Population of, we can assume either for a men or for the women, right, as 100. So let me take it for women. And I'll tell you why I'm taking it for women. Because what we are going to do is 30% of women are married means this will be 30. If I take men as 100, then 40% means 40 men are married, which is equal to 30% of women, right? Or I can take 30 is equal to 40% of men, right? And for me, this is actually simpler option because 100 is divisible properly by 40 rather than 30, right? Otherwise you will run up in the fractions. So what I'm going to do is, as I said, women 100, so 30 women are married, 30%, which is equal to 40% of men. So men is equal to 40% will be 75, right? 40 ka 2.5 is 100, so 30 ka 2.5 is 75. So men, there are 75 men. So 75 men and 100 women, that means the total population of men and women is 175, out of which 30 men and 30 women are married. Okay, this is the percentage, this is not number, remember that, right? So 30 men, 30 women are married, that means 60 adults are married out of 175. So what is that percentage, right? So 25, 4, 240 divided by 7 will be 34 by the percentage, and that's your answer, option number C. Okay, so this is little tricky, I would say, because you need to understand that the number of men married is equal to number of women married and the percentages are different. So you need to individually count source population of men and women and then take the same number as married men and women and then calculate the percentage the way I did it. Okay, so understand this problem properly. Let us go to next one. As a result of 25% hike in the price of rice per kg, a person is able to purchase 6 kg less rice for rupees 1200. What was the original price of per kg? Now, the simplest way to solve this, there are multiple ways to solve this, but I would say that the simplest way to solve this is, assumption. So typically we will start with 100 and take the new price as 125, right? This is original, this is new. But my amount is 1200 and 1200 is not directly divisible by 125. So I'm not going to start with 100. I'm going to take some number which can completely divide 1200. Both these numbers need to divide 1200. So I'm going to take 80 and 100 because 80 to 100 is 25% increase, then 1200. Right? Original price is 80, increased by 25% becomes 100, and he is able to buy full amount of rice in 1200. So in 80 he is able to buy, right, 15 kg, and in 100 he is able to buy 12 kg. Right, now this difference is 3 kilo, but my actual difference is 6 kilo. So if actual difference is 6 kilo, then this price is basically 40, and this, because I am able to buy double the rice, the difference is double, I am reducing the price by half. So now you can double check that. So here he is able to buy 30 kilos, here he is able to buy 20. So the answer to this question is 40 rupees, option number C. Okay, another thing is you can do it by algebra, like you can take original price as P and the increased price as 1.25 P. So in 1200 rupees you will buy 1200 by P, and here you will buy 1200 by 1.25 P, and this difference is basically 6, right? And then you can solve this for P and you will get the answer for P. Okay, but I was wanting to avoid this algebra part, but if you are comfortable with algebra, you can actually solve this by algebra. So let us go to the next one. In a class, 60% of students are from India. So again, I'm going to start with 100. This is India. Number of students is 60. That means foreign students are 40. And 50% of students are girls. 50 are girls. 50 are boys. Okay. What is the next statement? If 30% of Indian students are girls, so Indian students there are 60. 30% of 60 is 18. 30% of 60 is 18 girls are Indian. 18 are girls plus India. Right? That means out of 60 Indians, 18 are girls. Total girls are 50. So 32 girls are foreign. Right? So 32 is equal to foreign plus girls. What is the question? Then what percentage of foreign students are boys? Total foreign students are 40. 32 are girls. Right? That means 8 are boys. Boys plus foreign. Total students 40. 8 are boys. That is the percentage we have been asked, which is 8 by 40 into 100. Right? And this is 20%. That's your answer, option number D. Okay, I hope you have understood this. Not very difficult. 2021 question. Let us go to the next one. A student appeared in 6 papers. The maximum marks are same for each paper. His marks in these papers are in the proportion of 5:6 7:7 8 9 10. So every question paper has the same mark, maximum marks, and whatever marks he got, they are in the proportion of 5:6 7:8 9 10. Overall, he scored 60%. In how many number of papers did he score less than 60% of the maximum marks? Now again, because we have been asked 60% of the maximum marks, let us assume that maximum marks are 100, right? How many papers? 6 papers. So the exam was for 600 marks. What was his overall score? Overall he scored 60%. So his score out of this 600 was 360, which is 60% of 600. So his score was 360. His score is divided among 6 papers in this ratio. We will simply calculate the marks for the each of the paper. That will tell us how, in how many papers he scored less than 60. So how will you do that? I will just add this, because then I need to divide this 360 into this ratio. So this is 19 plus 11 is 30, 45, right? So if I divide 360 by 45, then I get 8. One unit value is 8. So now I will calculate 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know that one unit is 8. So first paper 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. Now maximum marks here is 100 everywhere. We know that. That means this is the percentages in each of the paper. Now how many papers did he score less than 60%? These 3 papers. He scored less than 60%. Option is, there is option number B, 3. In 3 papers he scored less than 60%. Let us move to the next one. P scored 40 marks more than Q in an examination. P scored 40 marks more in an examination. If Q scored 10% less marks than P, how much did Q score? So it is simple, right? So this difference is basically 10%. Maximum marks are 400. You may actually tend to write 400 as an answer, but understand this. 40 marks is equal to 10%. 10% means what? If P scored 100, Q scored 90. Right? So he scored 100%, then this guy scored 90%. That is the difference of 10%. This 10% is equal to 40 marks, but Q scored 90%. You have to multiply this 40 by 9 and not by 10. So this is 360 marks. That's, P scored 400 marks, then Q scored 360. Right? So now you see that this is the difference of 10%. This is the difference of 40. Only when Q scores 360, these conditions are met, right? So, in hurry, you may end up making that mistake and mark 400 as an answer. Remember that, nahi karna hai. 360, option number A. Let us move to the next one. If the price of an article, very simple question. See how many questions are there in 2021. We are still on 2021. I think this is some third or fourth question. So if the price of an article is decreased by 20%, then new price is increased by 25%, then what is the net change? There cannot be a simpler question than this. I am assuming 100 as the original price, decreased by 20%, so becomes 80. 80 is increased by 25%. 25% is nothing but 1/4. 80 ka 1/4 is 20, so increased by 20 rupees becomes 100, right? Then what is the net change in the price? There is no net change in the price. 2%. Option number A, right? Very simple. Let us go to the next one. ये हो गया 2022 चालू हो गया. The increase in the price of a certain item was 25%, then the price was decreased by 20%, and then again increased by 10%. See, this question that we just solved is very similar to this question. So 21, 22, almost similar question. What is the resultant increase in the price? Now you can solve this by, this formula, because there are, successive increases and decreases. First is increase of 25%, then decrease of 20%. So this is 500, right? This is how much? 25 minus 20 is 5, minus 5, that is 0. Is 0%, and then that means the price did not change. Then it is increased by 10%. So obviously the answer is going to be 10%. Right? In first two changes, there was no change in the price. The difference was 0%. That means whatever third change that you did, which is increase of 10%, is the increase from the original price, because you came back to original price after second decrease. Your answer is going to be 10. If you do not remember this formula, it is easy to do. Price is 100, increase by 25%. 25% ka 20% is 25. So you again come back to 100, then increase it to 110. 10%. Option number B. That's your answer. Simplest question. Let us move to the next one. When 70% of number x is added, now understand this question properly. This is concept oriented question. कोई formula नहीं चलेगा. When 70% of number x is added to another number y, the sum becomes 165% of the value of y. What is 165% of the value of y? It is 65% increase in the value of y, right? 100% of y is y. So 165% of y is 65% increase in the value of y, right? So understand that. So 70% of number x, 70% of number x is this one, right? 0.7 multiplied by x is added to another number y. Then it becomes 165% of the value of y. 165% of value of. When 60% of number x, when 60% of number x is added to another number z, then the sum becomes 165 of the value of z. This is 165% of value of z. Then which of the following is correct? So we have to just see which one is correct. That means we have to find which is the highest, biggest number, middle number, and the smallest number. Now understand couple of things here, right? Increase in y is 65%. Increase in z is also 65%. Right? Everywhere, I mean, in both the cases, it is increased by 65%. Here you are adding 0.7 of x. Here you are adding 0.6 of x. Right? So this increase is nothing but 65% of y, and this increase is nothing but 65% of z, right? So which value is bigger in this and this? Is 0.7 of x is bigger or 0.6 of x is bigger? Obviously 0.7 of x is bigger, right? So if this is bigger, that means, and this is 65% of y is bigger than 65% of z, right? Understand this, okay? 0.7 of x is bigger than 0.6 of x, correct? That means 65% of y is bigger than 65% of z. That means y is bigger than z. This one we got, y is bigger than z. Let me immediately check the option y is bigger than z. I am getting A, and right. So I have to find about x. Okay. Now to find x, understand this. Let me draw a diagram here for simpler. Okay, this is A and this is B. Let me do this red part. Right. This is 50% of A, and assume that the thickness of both the blocks is same. Okay, and this is 25% of B, right? Which is bigger then? B is bigger, right? You can see that, you know, B is bigger. It is double than A in size. So wherever the percentage is smaller, that number, when two things are equated, right? This is 50% of A, it's same as 25% of B. That means B is bigger than A. In this scenario, B is bigger than A, right? Wherever the percentage is smaller, that number is bigger than where percentage is higher. Okay, so let me erase this now, right? Remember this, wherever percentage is smaller, that number is bigger. Let me erase this. Now what do we know from this equation? From this equation, we know 70% of x is equal to 65% of y. right? Then what can we conclude? Y is greater than X, right? Wherever percentage is smaller, that number is bigger. What do we know from this equation? 60% of X is equal to 65% of Z, right? Wherever that number is smaller, that number is bigger. So we can conclude that X is greater than, so Y is greater than X, Y is greater than X, X is greater than Z, is greater than Z. That's our answer. That's A. Okay. So this is little concept oriented question, right? No formula. You need to really understand the percentage. How do they work with each other? I think this is the last question. This is again 2022. Two candidates X and Y contested an election. 80% of voters cast their vote and there were no invalid votes. There was none of the above option. Means everyone had to vote either for X or for Y. There was none of the above option nahi tha. X got 56% of the votes cast and won by 1440 votes. Now because it is 56% of votes cast, I am going to take votes cast is equal to 100. Okay. 56% of votes cast is, this is इसको मिला, X को मिला, right? So these are the number of votes of X. That means number of votes out of 100 that Y got is 44, right? He won by 1440 votes. So whatever this difference was, the value of that was 1440. This difference is 12 units. 12 units value is 1440. So 1 unit is equal to 120, right? So if 1 unit is 120, 100 unit is equal to 12,000. So these were the number of votes cast, right? Now, what is the total number of voters in the voters list? So 12,000 is not an answer. That is an option, but that's not an answer because we know that only 80% of the voters out of voters list casted their vote. Okay. So this is equal to 80%. So 100% is equal to 5 is 15,000. That's your answer, option number A. Okay. So even if you actually solve until now, don't please make mistake. Always read the question carefully. This list is important. This number is important from the last answer perspective. इतना solve करने के बाद भी गलत हो सकता है अगर तुमने 12,000 मार्क कर दिया. The most important thing that you need to remember in CSAT is to keep your head calm, irrespective of how difficult the paper is, irrespective of how anxious you feel, irrespective of if there is any fear that is in your mind. Whatever you are solving or trying to solve, keep your focus completely on that problem. Don't think about कि बाकी का पेपर कितना मुश्किल है, easy है, मेरा क्या होगा कालिया. कुछ नहीं है, right? Just focus, because whatever you know, even if you solve that much, you will clear CSAT. Okay, because you need to get only 33%. Okay, you need to get very few questions correct. So there is nothing difficult if you actually focus on what you know and do not lose your marks in what you know. That is most important. And why will you lose your marks? That is because you will be anxious, right? You will be thinking about some other problem while solving some other problem. So read the question carefully, make sure that you have written the right answer and then only move ahead. Okay, answer to this question 15,000. That's it. We have done all the percentages questions. So thanks for watching this. Please subscribe to my channel because I am quickly now going to solve all the PYQs of CSAT until 2023. My next chapter, the next topic that I'm going to start with is permutation and combination, because that was one dominating chapter in 2023 exam. So I'm going to take all the PYQs from the next video in permutation and combination. So thanks again and I will see you in the next one.